And a lot of players will contact Tony or Joe direct. You know, I probably get 2 or 3 players reach out to me, you know, a week. In the summer, it's a day, and most of them are like you wouldn't even look at. But you know, for every single one that does contact, we ask for a football CV or a clips video, and any decent player will have that. And then, you know, we're able to look at that and very quickly determine whether that's someone we want to take further and have a look at. But the vast majority of we need to think about a centre back. Who have we seen in the last 2 years who's really decent? You know, predominantly that's driven by Tony and Joe. You know, myself and John may give an input, and Tony will, you know, he will discuss those players with us as well. But it very much is being driven by them.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I expected to hear, to be fair. But also with these new players coming in now, for example, and this what I'm about to ask, I think it's an announcement that came a few months ago, but I'd like to hear probably a bit more info about it, because I've kind of forgotten a bit about it. But with these new players, and obviously contracts that get offered to them, how will the change to contracts with club sick pay affect Lewes? And maybe a bit of like just a quick explanation of what it basically is.
Yeah, so it's all to do with it was a test case that was a player somewhere in the non-leagues brought against the FA about the fact that he should be entitled to sick and holiday pay. That's important as well. And how it would impact contracts. And it was deemed that, yeah, you know, if a player is on contract, they're considered to be an employee, therefore they have to have sick pay and holiday pay. But what I would say is it's how if a club has insurance, then actually it's the same as almost having private medical insurance. And so clubs can choose how they treat players who are injured. Lewes, we've always been really good at the way we treat players. I'd say that's, again, one of the reasons why players stay with us, not necessarily why they join us, but why they stay with us, is because of the way we treat them. When, you know, think of it this way: if you're looking at a new job, and you've got 2 jobs on the table, and one offers 5,000 a year more, but the other one has private medical insurance, I would suggest you're probably going to take the one that has 5,000 more. And as you go through life, things might change. So, you know, now at my ripe old age, I may actually say, do you know what, I'm going to choose the one with private medical insurance. It's the same with footballers. So if a footballer is, you know, they don't think about private medical insurance until it's important. So there's a lot made of it, and the media have made a lot about sick pay and everything like that, when actually it's contracted players, and we only have, you know, 5 contracted players. And it doesn't really make much difference. And genuinely, every single player that we've had a conversation with and we put a contract on, none of them have spoken about it, talked about it. We mentioned the fact the club has its own insurance. They're happy about that. And and we've worked with clubs over the last, you know, players over the last few years. If players need a scan, so, you know, for example, JT at the start of last season had an ankle injury, needed a scan. So we got him a scan, and it's covered under the insurance.
Yeah, no, I just remember when it got announced, it caused a bit of an uproar. And
yeah, if you look at it's interesting, the clubs that were causing the uproar. So I remember Robbie Savage was very vocal about this, for example, because Macclesfield have a lot of contracted players.
Yeah.
So if you've got a lot of contracted players, then potentially it could be a a story that is newsworthy. But actually, for most clubs, it makes no difference whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense now, I'd say. We've got 5 minutes to your call. Do you want to
No, carry on. That's fine. No,
okay.
it's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, taking a bit of a different path now. This is a bit more of an issue that we encountered last season. I think it did actually stretch back to the season before. And it's something that I'm a bit, everyone has an opinion about this because of it affects them. It could affect people's children. Affects people when they were younger, like me, when this impacted me. But what would we need to see happen for under 16s? The adult accompanied rules be dropped. So basically, because I very much understand why it was brought in, but the youth wing benefited from being able to go without our parents. I look back from when I was 16 at college. We'd go after college to like a couple midweek games, and I remember we were all stood there and we could see behind us like Spooky and his crew doing all the chants, and we were starting to get, really into it. And I remember, I think it was, we were playing Brighton under 23s in the Sussex Senior Cup. I can't remember what round it was. But is it Tom Dixon? Was that his name?
Tom Davis scored two. He scored two absolutely screamers, didn't he?
Screamers, yeah. And that it was an underlaw free kick, and it was brilliant. But yeah, I'm getting a bit sidetracked. So I can talk about past games for ages. But yeah, I'd just like to know what's like the sort of club's opinion on this at the moment. Is there a chance that it could be dropped in the future?
We'll continue to review the situation. I mean, that's the best way we can handle it. We had quite a lot of problems last year, and what I would say is that some of those problems, we still saw some problems after we'd put the ban in place. So I don't know if you remember, we had the game against 𝗥𝗲𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗂 at home.
Okay, I might not
have. Where there was a group of quite young kids, maybe 10 or 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
Who were really throwing abuse at 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Right.
And I went down and spoke to them, and after the game, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 came up and said, like, I saw what you did. He said, I'm in a no-win situation. He said, as a player, I can't turn around and react to a group of 11 or 12-year-olds. He said, and I mean, especially as he had the incident in his career where he jumped in the crowd and started having a go at somebody, and got quite a long ban. So, and to us, there's acceptable behaviours.
I agree.
At the pan, and I think that we have fantastic support. We have really, really good support, but there has been some elements that have crept in that's been quite unsavoury. We've had incidents where items have been thrown at keepers and stuff like that. And some of that could be people that were over the age of 16. I certainly think the incident of Bognor, I'm pretty sure the pint that was thrown over the referee did not come from an under 16-year-old.
No.
So we'll continue to review the situation. We work very closely with our stewards there. Bryn and his team have been working with Lewes for a long time. I mean, Bryn's been involved in the club for well over a decade.
Oh, wow.
And we'll take their we'll take their advice on it. I know it's a hot topic. I understand why people feel as if we're excluding a particular group. The number of antisocial and issues did drop after that happened, and but we'll keep on reviewing the situation.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I could also think of another game where I think we're at home to 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃, where a couple of I don't know again what age they were, but they nicked a 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 flag.
Yeah, I remember
that. But yeah, I was pretty annoyed at that, because you know, it's like, how I see it is like, if I was on an away day with my mates and like, yeah, some home fans nick our flag, I'd be annoyed. Like, you know, it's disrespectful, and you can do your disrespectfulness in the chants, and you have jokes in that, but when you're actually just messing like that, I don't really agree with it. And I found it pretty funny. I think I'm right in saying this, that the kid got made to return the flag to the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 fans. And he had to do the long walk all the way down the ban, and everyone was watching it. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, it seemed like the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 fans were pretty nice about it by the looks of things. I could see in the distance.
I don't think it would have been the same if someone would have tried out of their ground. I think it would have been
But yeah, that's good to get an update on it. Hopefully a lot of the younger fans that follow the page will sort of follow the sort of advice, and then hopefully in time, once things have settled down, we could look at
I mean, we want passionate support, we want vocal support. There's no harm at all in some ribbing and light-hearted banter with the players. We know that some goalkeepers are good. We know that some goalkeepers are bad, and they take it in the right jest. And we want to positively encourage an atmosphere which is, I like the word intimidating is probably not right. I want a world where a goalkeeper is gonna know that the crowd are on his back.
Yeah,
he makes a mistake. So if there's a corner and he's coming for the ball, he knows that he's going to get some stick. He's not going to get abuse. He's going to get stick.
Exactly.
And I think difference.
I
remember there was a game last year where I can't remember what team it was. It might have been 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗀, where they had a guy behind the goalkeeper coaching him. He was on the Ham Lane end, right at the front, and the keeper made two absolute howlers quite early on, and he disappeared. But he was coaching him.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, because 𝗏𝗏𝗃 would never have had that. It was a youngish keeper, and I can't remember who it was, but it was, and we want keepers to come to us and think, oh God, I've got to stand in front of the not oh God, I've got to stand here and listen to 12, 13-year-olds being really, really abusive.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's always been my view on it, is that it's got to be like, it's got to be funny, and it's got to be like within, just not being abusive. Like, I've heard stuff before where people around me have been abusive, and it's just no need. There's no need. But football's football. And it happens, but hopefully, we see less of it. There's been a rise of football hooliganism since COVID in younger groups. It's not just at Lewes. I watched a little documentary on it. I can't remember who it was by. It might have been Channel 4, but they did a documentary on the rise of young football hooliganism at games, where a lot of younger sort of kids at these games are getting into, trying to get into fights and stuff. And, I don't know if that's always been a thing, but when I was younger, I don't remember. I maybe just didn't see it. Maybe I just wasn't in the right crowd, but I think I've started to notice it a lot more, but, be interesting to see how it develops anyway.